October 29th, 2021. That's right, we're going to have a great time here today. Hopefully, we're going to educate you on how to better take care of not only yourself, but maybe someone else in case you need it. I kind of made a comment earlier this morning about the importance of CPR training and the fact that it's kind of like insurance. You don't need it until you really need it, right? And then if you don't have it, maybe it's a little bit late then. So we're going to be talking to Mr. Jerry Swain there. He's the CEO of Safety Net. He has a lot of experience, a former firefighter and all of that. So he's got a lot of experience in training people. He does courses throughout North Carolina, South Carolina, and Kentucky. And I think it's going to be really, really exciting for people to learn a little bit more about CPR. And more importantly, if you want to get certified, he can certainly do that for you. We will also have our, one and only Dr. John Lucas. He's our fight doctor, and he's going to also chime in throughout perhaps the presentation, but certainly afterwards, he and I will be chatting a little bit about CPR and some other things. I always got some real talk or real solutions with Dr. John Lucas. As always, we want to thank our sponsors, Eastern Offset Printing, for all they do for us, and all of our tournaments that we do, the Spring Classic in Myrtle Beach, the Fall Classic also in Myrtle Beach, and the upcoming Georgia Classic. I want you guys to get ready for that, guys. The second annual IKF Georgia Classic is coming up on January the 14th through the 16th. MLK, Martin Luther King weekend. So it's kind of like a 3-day weekend. So get your plans in place. It's going to be a great event. Now that might mean that perhaps some of you can't stuff your face too much at Christmas, right? To be ready for the fight in January. But it is the second annual tournament. Registration again, early bird registration will start on this coming up Monday, right? That's November 1st. So get in early. You can save money. You get to buy and all of that stuff. That's at akpromotions.org. Remember, if you're first, you start that division out. Don't wait on others to register. You register first. That event is going to be at the Columbus Convention Center in Columbus, Georgia. Get ready for that. I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, guys, without any further ado, let's get into what we're really here for today. And that's learning a little bit more about CPR. How can you save someone's life? And the interesting about this is that only a week or so ago, I met this gentleman who we're about to bring up, we did some CPR training. And it was like really informative. I mean, it was just intriguing. I'm into health, I'm into fitness anyway, right? So anytime people start telling me even more about health and fitness, I'm just intrigued by it. But I thought, wow, that would make a great show for Johnny Davis Live, right? And educating our trainers and fighters. Here's the thing, this is my thinking. My thinking is that a lot of us know how to teach people how to punch and kick people in the face, right? That's important. But what happens if somebody goes under? What happens if it goes down? What if they lose consciousness? What if their heartbeat stops? Right? What can we do? Are we trained? We might be a gym owner. Some of us are gym owners and don't have any kind of certification. And that's one of the things I would like for you to maybe think about that. If you are not certified, this is a perfect opportunity to get certified, whether it's with Mr. Jarris or with some other groups out there, but certainly in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Kentucky, he can handle that for you and your entire team. Why not be safe rather than sorry, right? That's what's in my brain anyway, and that's why I went on and got certified here a week or so ago, and I am mandating it for all of our PKB promoters in my organization to also get certified by the end of the year. And we have our doctors there, we have our medics there and stuff like that, but why not be even more safe if we possibly can? You never know what might happen. You might be the only person standing there when it happens. Why not know a little bit more about how to save someone's life? All right, guys, so without any further ado, I'm going to switch cameras here just for a moment. You might see a little blink in the screens there. We're going to switch cameras, and we're going to go right to our one of our guests here today, Mr. Jerry Swain. Please welcome him to the show. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine, sir. Thank you very much for having me.
Good. Nice to have you here as well. And I'm going to take some of this stuff off the screen right now because you're going to be the man with the plan that has my host information there and all of that. Hope everybody can still hear me just fine. If let me know if you can't and all, but I think you should be able to do that just fine. Let me get my mug off of the screen right there, at least that portion right there. Mr. Judge, you've been doing CPR training for quite a while. Tell me a little bit about how you got into the business.
So I was a firefighter in Louisville, Kentucky for 21 years. And while on the fire department, I saw the need for a company that could do this, that could be mobile and teach individuals how to save lives. I saw the importance of it. And that's kind of how we started the concept of our company in 2014. And it's just kind of taken off of that.
Right, right. Was there something that happened in your life that kind of motivated you to get involved with this, or was just, because sometimes, it's like, whoa, mama fell out or something, I couldn't help it, right, So was there something that inspired you to get into this?
Well, it's just like with the fire department. I love being on the fire department because I enjoy helping people. And helping people, this is one way to another avenue in helping individuals, helping individuals in the community to learn how to save life. So many of the Americans today don't know, in the United States, don't know how to save a life in the event of someone having a cardiac arrest. So that's kind of how we came up with the concept of that.
Right. We always kind of like to throw the personal thing in there just in case. Have you ever had a situation where you actually had to save someone's life? Did they go under?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
On the fire department.
Give me an example. Give me an example of something, situation that you might have had to literally perform CPR.
Well, it's funny because, obviously on the fire department, we got emergency runs all the time.
Right.
But my firehouse, if you're familiar, was Louisville, Kentucky. Was downtown in a little area called Smoketown, about 6 blocks from major hospitals. And I was on a small engine, four-person engine company, and there we did CPR on an individual one day for 45 minutes.
Ooh.
Yes, the 4 of us.
Wow.
And it was a long time waiting on the EMS to arrive with the ambulance. Of course, we can't put that person on the fire truck, so we had to wait for the ambulance. But that just goes to show you that just because you live near a hospital, near a fire station, or EMS facilities is right around the corner, doesn't mean that they're going, you're going to get prompt service. So just something to keep in mind.
Right. I think that's really, really important. We're going to have Dr. Lucas on a little bit to talk a little bit more directly towards the fight world and the trainers and things like that. But I want to, just go ahead right now and kind of go into CPR and exactly what it is. So what does CPR stand for?
So CPR stands for cardiopulmonary resuscitation. And the most important part of CPR is the compressions part. Our curriculum that we have is based upon the American Heart Association. So upon completing our courses, you're going to receive a 2-year certification through the American Heart Association in cardiopulmonary resuscitation. We teach adult, child, and infant CPR to our students. And so we have our mannequins where we bring all of our equipment in to you, and we do all of our training is done hands-on. So we do not do anything from as far as internet,
right.
Over the internet. But
right.
all of our training is done.
In other words, they're not going to learn how to do it and get certified here online. They have to be there in person, right?
They have to be in person.
Right.
And so our little niche is we come to you to do the training. We don't necessarily, we try to make it easy for you. So we come to you and do the training at a time and a place that's convenient for you. And so I would just like to demonstrate some of the CPR portion.
Yeah, and I notice you have a baby and an adult are there. So you're going to show us that obviously there's a difference in how we perform the CPR.
And that is, yes, that is true. Like I said, we teach adult, child, and infant CPR. Now, adult and child CPR are the same, and I can demonstrate a little bit of that for you. The American Heart Association now, especially during the pandemic, is real big on teaching hands-only CPR. What they find is a lot of people, especially those that are certified, a person may go down, they don't have a pocket mask or a plastic barrier to put over the person's face, and they don't feel comfortable in doing anything. So the American Heart Association is real big now in teaching and trying to promote hands-only CPR. Where in that instance, you're only doing compressions on the individual, which is the most important part. So if I could demonstrate to you that, if you notice on the mannequin here, there's a little V shape here. This is an example of the rib cage. What we like to teach for hand placement is when you're doing compressions is you take the palm of your hand, you put it on the person's lower part of their chest bone, either line up your middle finger or your ring finger with the nipple. You take your other hand overlaps it. Your arms are locked. It's a rocking motion. You're using your body weight to press down on the individual's chest.
So can I just insert that for a moment?
Yes.
So you talked about body weight, and in the fight world, we're always talking about use our body, right, to throw the punch. So a lot of people don't punch from the arm.
Yes.
So if they were doing them with the arms, tell me how would that work out?
Well, you would wear out really quick. You're probably going to last maybe 3-4 minutes at the most, because technique is so important.
Right.
And what we like to teach is, from the time that you make that phone call to 911 and actually come in contact with an individual to the time someone walks into your home or place of business to actually provide help, is going to be every bit of 15-20 minutes. So that's why technique is so important when you're performing CPR.
Okay.
And again, so many people wonder, well, how deep are the compressions supposed to be? The compressions are 2 inches in depth. So if you are doing CPR correctly, you may crack ribs. You're not going to do it on an infant. You're not going to do it on a child. But the older the individual is, especially those in the of elderly age, yes, you may crack rib. But I like to tell individuals in our class, if you're mad at me because I cracked your rib doing CPR, that means you're still alive, so I can live with that.
Right? I've actually told people, that if you don't watch out, I will break your ribs. As I'm actually the other day, you made a comment on the fact that, well, if Johnny's going to do it, he's definitely breaking some ribs. But at least they'll be able to tell somebody about it in the end, right?
That's true. That's true. Yes.
Okay, as you were.
Yes. And so again, I was telling you, hand placement, arms are locked. So on the mannequins that we have, your indicator that you went to 2 inches is you'll hear this. I don't know if you can hear that clicking noise, but that's your indicator that you went 2 inches. Now, obviously, a person is not going to click like that for you. But what we'd like to teach, if you're going to err on doing your compressions, because in the real world, on this street, you're not going to know what 2 inches is.
Right.
So what we like to teach is, if you're going to err, we want you to err on going too deep on the individual. Because just sitting here pumping on the person's chest like this, you're not really doing anything. And keep in mind, why the compressions are so important is because you're trying to mimic what the heart isn't doing. And that's pump oxygenated blood throughout the body to those vital organs, such as the brain, the lungs, the heart itself. So that's why the compressions are so important. Would you like for me to do a set of?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when a lot of people ask, so CPR, it changes. I know back when I was doing it, you did 15 compressions, and sometimes now people say it's 30. So your compression rate per minute, or ratio rather, is 30-2. So for every 30 compressions you do, you're going to give 2 breaths. But we're going to just concentrate again just on the compressions. So your 30 compressions should look and sound like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. It's very important, Johnny, that when you press down on the individual's chest, that you allow it to come back up completely, to completely recoil. Keep in mind, when you're pressing on the chest, you're dispersing blood out of the heart throughout the body. And you allow it to come back up completely, you're allowing the blood to fill back up into the heart. So it's very important. Now that's the adult and child CPR as far as compressions. Infant is a little bit different. To go over that with you, but to go over infant CPR is just a little bit different.
I know Dr. Lucas is probably looking at this one really close because he's actually a pediatric cardiologist.
Okay.
So Dr. Lucas, well, I'm going to bring you up on the screen there, so I know, because we got the little baby there, and please feel free to insert anywhere that there might be more in depth when it comes to doing the compressions on the baby.
Yes. So infant CPR, some things are a little different. Which I will tell you first. Let me tell you what stays the same. The ratio compressions to breath are still the same. It's still 30-2. You're still doing that 100 to 120 compressions per minute. What is different is we're using 2 fingers on the lower part of the chest bone instead of the palm of our hand. And we're going 1.5 inches.
Now, why would that be? Because you can't put as much pressure?
That is exactly right. There's not infants and children don't have as much body mass as an adult on infants rather. They don't have as much body mass. So you are not going to be able to put your whole palm of your hand on this infant's chest. You would actually do damage to this infant if you try to do that.
Right.
So that's why we teach the 2-finger method. You're going 1.5 inches deep instead of 2 inches.
What are your thoughts on that, Dr. Lucas?
I mean, I totally agree.
Right. Okay, good. But what about the fact that the heart, the fact that they have these little vital, little small organs, even with the fingers,
Yes, sir.
Jerris, and can you potentially cause pretty bad damage?
So no, and that's one of the things that as a firefighter, when I first came on as a rookie, I had to be taught is that infants' bones are so pliable, like you're not going to hurt them or injure them as long as you're doing the technique correct. Now, obviously, if you try to put the whole palm of your hand on their chest, yes, you may do some damage. But the technique that we teach and that the curriculum shows you is that by using your 2 fingers, or you can even use 2 thumbs. So some people say, Jerry, I have arthritis in my hands. The 2 fingers hurt. Well, just try to use the 2-thumb method as well. We use that as well. So, but no, you're not going to do any damage to it.
Okay, that's some really good information. You talked about the actual breathing.
Yes.
Is that necessary these days to actually do the breathing into another person's mouth, or just compressions?
So the breaths are beneficial. Yes, they are beneficial. However, can I save someone's lives by just doing the compressions part? Yes, you can. Keep in mind what you're trying to do is circulate that blood or that oxygenated blood throughout the body. Okay. So we know the blood is what carries the oxygen to the vital organs. So by just doing the compressions, yes, you are being very beneficial to this individual and can help save their life.
Now, so show me the process of if you were to breathe into, would you breathe into the baby as you would an adult?
Okay, so
maybe we should do the adult first. I don't know.
Yeah. So the technique for giving breasts on an adult or child is different from the technique as far as with the infant. Okay, but if you were going to if you were going to give mouth to mouth, the technique for giving breast is called the head tilt.
Dr. Luke is down there for a minute. Yeah, go ahead.
The head tilt chin lift. Basically, you just take the palm of your hand, tilt your head back, pinch the nostrils, and allow this hand to just rest on the chin. Keep in mind, how you know you're giving effective breaths is that you will see the chest rise with each breath. Your breaths are 1 second apiece, so you're not blowing up a balloon. So it's a 1 second breath, a rest, and then a 1 second breath. Okay, so yeah.
By the way, our team from Africa right now who's watching,
yes,
they just made a comment how much they love this. This is good stuff.
Yes. Thank you. But yes, so that's with an adult or child. Again, head tilt, chin lift, pinch the nostrils, hand rest on the chin. What I want you also to keep in mind, to think about this. When you're relaxed, laying on your back, say you're sleeping, what does your mouth automatically do? It opens, right? So this person's mouth is going to be open. So you don't have to be like, oh God, I got to open up their mouth. No, just relax. Their mouth's going to be open, but just let this hand just rest on their chin and give your 2 breaths to them. Now, on an infant, it's a little different. We're doing a different technique. An infant's head is normally bigger than its body, so you don't have to tilt their head back as you would on the adult or child. Your mouth is going to go over their nose and mouth. So you're basically making a mask with your mouth over the infant's nose and mouth. You also do not breathe in the infant's lungs as hard as you would in the adults. You basically want to cut that in half, because if we try to blow as adults in the infant's lungs as hard as we would an adult or child, we're going to do damage to them.
Right. So give me an example of how would you blow into an adult's mouth as opposed to an infant.
Okay. So I would start. I really need to get a plastic barrier so I can put on the mouth of the infant. Okay. So I get a plastic barrier.
Right. So while he's getting this plastic barrier there and everything, we're gonna let him get that information. But I hope you guys are enjoying our show today. This is a special edition of Johnny Davis Live about CPR training. It's really important, I think, for all trainers to know exactly what and how to do this. I know a lot of people might take it for granted. I would say do not take it for granted. It is something that I think is really, really vital. And I think that, Mr. Swain there is doing a great job in explaining and breaking this down. Just remember, Dr. John Lucas will be up a little bit. We're going to chat like we always chat about a lot of things going on in the fight community right now, including more about the CPR. So we're going to go right back here now to Mr. Jerris Swain. Do you think, sir?
All right. So in giving the breast, there's basically two techniques that you can use. You can use what's called the mouth to mouth, but basically you're using a plastic barrier to put over the individual's mouth. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so again, you would do the head tilt, chin lift to pinch the nostrils, and then you would give your two breaths. And keep in mind, the way your indicator that you're giving effective breaths is you'll see the chest rise. So I like to keep my hand on the chest because, as I mentioned earlier, I know the mouth is going to be open. So you give your two breaths. And of course, you see the chest rise. Now, there's also, you can use what's called a pocket mask when giving your breaths. And this is a lot easier. If you are familiar with AED defibrillators, a lot of times these are attached to or come with the AED. But what you would do is, if you notice, there's a narrow part and a fat part. Narrow part goes around the bridge of the nose. And what we like to teach is you just make two C's with your fingers and press those two C's all the way around that mask. Again, still tilt the head back and then give your two breaths.
We can see the chest there.
You can see the chest rise.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
sir. Yes,
Nice.
Sir. So this is a lot easier to use than the plastic barrier, but both of them are effective. Now,
that will protect you from any germs or anything like that.
Correct.
Or if a person maybe was HIV,
yes,
or something like that,
yes,
right?
Yes. And so this is what I was mentioning earlier when I said when you don't have a plastic barrier or a pocket mask, but you really want to help someone in the event that they're having a cardiac arrest or they're not breathing and they need CPR, you can just do compressions on them, okay? So just keep that in mind. Just because you don't have one or the other does not mean that you cannot assist an individual that's in need of CPR.
Excellent.
And again, as I mentioned earlier, with the infant, you don't have to blow as hard in their lungs as you do on the adult or child. So again, your CPR is 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and then just give two puffs. And you can see the little chest rise there. So that's the difference in the two.
What about the checking of their mouth and everything? What if they were choking? If they were choking and maybe not breathing, that's a different kind of process, isn't it?
That is correct. So obviously, there's a choking technique for infants to relieve them of choking. 5 back slaps, where you would, we teach you that too, is 5 back slaps, 5 chest thrusts. But in the event that you don't get the object that the infant is choking on dislodged and you have to begin CPR, a lot of people ask, well, if I'm doing CPR and the person was choking and I didn't get the object out, do I still give the 2 breaths? The American Heart Association does teach, yes, you can give the 2 breaths. But one thing that you would want to do before you give your breaths is each time that you begin to give your breaths, before you do that, you want to look into the mouth to see if you see the object. If you can see it, you can do a finger sweep and try to get it out. But never, ever, ever just stick your finger in the infant's mouth or an adult or child's for that matter without, and you don't see anything. Just what we call a blind sweep. Never, ever, ever do that. But that's what you would want to do each time.
And the reason for that is
because you can do more damage. You can stick the object down in there further, get it more lodged in.
Okay,
so
cool.
Never, just do a blind sweep. If you don't see it, go ahead and give your 2 breaths and continue CPR. Another thing we teach is in our classes is how to use an AED defibrillator. An AED, is a portable machine that shocks the heart. It can restore the heart to a normal heart rhythm. Something that AEDs, they come in all shapes and sizes, different name brands, but if you don't remember anything else about using an AED,
hey, I can answer that. I was in the class.
You can
cut the darn thing on.
Exactly right. Yes, that's all you have to do is cut it on. It will talk to you and tell you exactly what you have to do and how to operate it. The pads will have pictures on them as to where to place them. So it's very easy to use. And again, that's one of the other things that we teach in our classes.
See, that's one of the things too, that maybe somewhere down the road, we can talk a little bit more about that. And I think that, you've done a great job in explaining exactly what it is. But go ahead and wind that up and tell us a little bit more about, how we can contact you and kind of a little bit more about your training.
Okay.
It's on you. Take you out to us.
So again, we're a mobile company, so we come to you and do the training. So feel free to visit our website at cprsafetynet.com. You can learn all of the classes that we offer, the links of our classes, a little description of each class that we offer as well. And we have some nice videos on there describing our business and how we got into this business and a little bit about our background as well. You can also email us at learn@cprsafetynet.com, or you can reach us by phone at 704-493-6663. And all that information is on our website, so feel free to check that out. But again, Johnny, thank you very much for allowing us to come on and be a part of your show today.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate it. Anytime that we can get out in the community and help others or try to teach others this life-saving skill of teaching CPR and first aid, we're going to definitely take that opportunity.
Right. Well, I think you're a credit to the health and fitness community. And, we talked about perhaps maybe having you at some of our events here in North and South Carolina, even in Kentucky. We're planning some events over there. So, and we always need our nurses, EMTs, and CPR certified people. And I would certainly like to expand that and continue to work together with you on and having you at some of those events, no doubt about it. And then maybe you could come out to the East Coast Classics and stuff like that and hang out with Dr. Lucas. And man, you'll get a mouthful there just seeing everything, right, Dr. Lucas?
I would enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Thanks so much for being on. You can hang around there for a minute. Then we're going to be, if you got some time there, we're going to go ahead and bring up our next guest there. We kind of do a little camera switch here in my very sophisticated operation here. and what I do here. Let me see, can I go ahead and get up Dr. John Lucas there. Yeah, getting the countdown. There he is. Dr. John
There we
Lucas,
go.
how are you?
Good. How are you doing today, Johnny?
Good. I've been hearing you clearing your throat there and everything. You good, right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Right. So great to have you on as always. What did you think about the presentation?
Oh, Jairus did a great job of that presentation. I think that anything that gets people a little bit more exposure to CPR training and AED use and really how straightforward it is if you take a class and understand what to do is very helpful, because the more people that are running around in the public that know how to use an AED and know how to do effective CPR, the more likely there is to be somebody around when the need arises. Because like Jairus said, you can live right next to a fire station. Doesn't necessarily mean an ambulance is going to be there instantaneously when you dial 911. So the difference between standing around and staring at someone who's had an attack while you're waiting for EMS to arrive versus having somebody in the public doing effective CPR makes a tremendous difference in the potential survivability of an out-of-hospital arrest.
Well, my first thing is I'm always impressed with you anyway, Dr. Lucas, but the fact that you got his name right off the bat, that right there tells the story of how smart this guy right here is, right? I mean, I didn't even tell you how to pronounce the name. You got it just right. No, but I think you're absolutely right in what you're saying about being prepared. Is there perhaps an even bigger need for a trainer, to be CPR certified than maybe just the average person?
Yeah, I think absolutely. If you go into most commercial gyms, I don't mean fight sport gyms, but, like Planet Fitness, that kind of thing, almost all of them require their employees to be, at least some of their employees, to be CPR trained, and most of them have an AED on site. Because especially for, shall we say, us older people who are not in our 20s anymore, if you're going to have an arrest when you're exerting yourself is the most likely time that would potentially happen. So the same thing holds to people who are doing significant cardio exercise in a fight sport gym, be it, a cardio kickboxing or 9 rounds kind of place, or a true like Muay Thai gym or true kickboxing gym. There's a much higher likelihood of an arrest occurring in that sort of setting than there is just in a place where people are sitting, like a restaurant or something like that, where people are just kind of there and not eating and stuff like that.
Right. Jared, since you're still sitting here, I want to ask you, how much of a difference has it been with the COVID-19? as far as and how you go out and do the classes and being conscious of the fact that, you know, even just going into the environment might be dangerous, hazardous.
Well, I mean, just like anyone, I guess we're all practicing the COVID-19, protocols as far as wearing a mask and social distancing. For us, one of the major things that we've done is our classes now are smaller, whereas we used to do, we would teach, have two or three instructors teaching 15 to 20 people at a time. And now we're condensing that down to, 8 to 10 individuals only at one time, and then practicing the social distancing. So that's one of the big changes that we've had to make.
Okay, yeah, I just kind of want to insert that really quick. It's just kind of since you're still there with us and everything. But Dr. Lucas, okay, so I want to talking about, with the COVID and everything like that, and I want to ask you a few questions as we kind of, transition there for a little bit. I've been hearing, some of the protocols that we've had in the past. That, for our events, as you know, the story early on, you advised us and we began to do all these protocols at these events, and we were very successful at it. We kept people safe. We were not hearing about hardly any infections at all, through temperature checks and, loggles and all that, right? So, we kind of like, since when most people or a lot of people got vaccinated, we kind of backed off of that just a little bit. As of late, I have heard about more people. Well, I think I might have gotten sick. I might have gotten this, might have gotten whatever. Nothing so serious. Most of them sniffles or whatever. And then they'll go get tested and they say they were positive, right? So my question to you is, where are we right now with the COVID-19 or the Delta variant? And how should we be as a sports organization? Should we go back into our protocols as strict as we were before? Are we okay with trying to move forward? I need some ideas here, sir.
Yeah, I think that, especially here in the Southeast, the numbers from the Delta variant are improving pretty significantly. The number of people that are in the hospitals across South Carolina is way down from where it was a couple of weeks or a month or so ago, and the percent positive of tests, meaning that of the people who were tested for COVID that had, COVID type symptoms, the percent that are actually found to have COVID is going down as well, which means that the prevalence of that in the community is decreasing a bit. So at the moment, I don't think we need to ramp up our protocols, but, unfortunately, COVID and the Delta variant is still out there. So I don't think it's quite time yet to abandon everything that we've been doing. But we just had the East Coast Classic just a couple of weeks ago, and I think the way you handled that was perfect. Asking people, if you're sick, don't come. Trying to stay a little bit social distance, but I don't think that we need to ramp back up to the way we were when we, kind of first went back to fight sports now 18 months ago and didn't really know as much about COVID-19, especially now since the immunization is available and people who've wanted to be immunized have had plenty of time to do so. So those people should have significant protection from getting complications from coronavirus and certainly hospitalization or fatality from coronavirus.
Right. And that's the thing is that my gauge and listening to everything is kind of about the deaths. We haven't been hearing a lot about, as many people like in warehouse numbers dying and all. And so, yeah, you can get infected. But, again, health and fitness is important. Taking care of yourself, eating right, all of those things are important anyway. And that's what we constantly push. And also, but I just wanted to get your 2 cents on that because a couple of people say, oh, well, a couple of people did get, infected. So it makes me, as the leader of the organization, I want to talk to my doc, right? And I want to say, hey, what should we be doing? Should we go back into those strict protocols? I think they were definitely noted before, and I think they were worthy of those type of actions before. I'm just not sure that it is now, and I'm taking your word for it, perhaps not. And also I want to be able, but I want to be careful. And I don't want to get, we're fine, we're just going to move on. But I am, as I said, when I was getting my booster, right? And I said that I believe in science. I believe in science. I believe it with everything, every vein that I have in my body. I believe in science. Do I believe every single thing that people, oh, well, you believe in science, you must be crazy. Well, they must believe in science too, because they run to the doctor when they get sick, right? So at some point, they must have some belief in science that they're maybe perhaps not admitting to. So, but I just wanted to make sure that I threw that out. Now, really quick, and I'm not going to keep you long today, but I wanted to go quickly into about your thoughts on the 9-round fight that we did from a medical perspective. And did you see anything that caused you any concern, and or did you see where it perhaps even helped people out in many ways, in that way?
Yeah, so I didn't have any concerns about the 9-round fight. I have to admit, I think we talked about this before. I was kind of surprised that fight went all 9 rounds. I was not anticipating that, given the two guys who were fighting.
Right.
But, I think that for professionals like Caleb and Jeremiah that have established, they're in shape, they're experienced, they've had a number of fights before. I think that the 9 rounds was a perfectly appropriate amount of time for them to fight, and it gives them, I think we talked about this just before when we were doing the weigh-ins.
Right.
When you have 2 guys or 2 women who are very, very closely matched, it can be very difficult after a shorter number of rounds, particularly like a 3-round fight. It can be really hard for a small difference in skill to really establish itself or make itself known, where with a longer fight becomes a little bit easier, I think, for judges to see which way things are going. And the safety protocols that are in place with having good corners, because, you're not going to be a professional kickboxer with 5, 10, 15 amateur and a handful of professional fights if you don't have a trainer who cares about you, knows what you're doing.
Right.
Then you still have the referees that know what they're doing, and then myself and whatever other ringside physician watching to make sure someone isn't continuing on when they shouldn't be. I don't think that you're exposing those fighters to any significant additional risk. I mean, I can't say what they do in the gym, but it would surprise me if those guys aren't sparring pretty hard for longer numbers of rounds than that pretty regularly. So I don't think that we're exposing them to significant risk.
It was so interesting. You saw the post as I wind down here the other day. When you see my hands up and I'm on the thing, that means that I'm probably fighting with some commission somewhere, right? Because I was on a conference, and that's true. I was on a conference call the other day, and I was trying to come to this certain state and bring the 9-round fight. And the guy basically said, "Who do you think you are? You think you're smarter than everybody on the ABC?" I said, "No, I'm just trying to change the game and just trying to, bring back the excitement to our sport, something I think we're drastically missing, and I think we need that." So more 9-round fights as far as I'm concerned and everything, for sure. But hey, listen, I just want to thank again Jairus here. I almost want to say Dr. Swain, right? Jairus here, and certainly Dr. John Lucas for being on. Dr. Lucas, you're always my number one call, my number one guy for all of our stuff. You do such a great job. I'm so appreciative for all of the support that you give the entire fight community, but in particular us. We've been working together now for like 7 years, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I mean, I've even changed haircuts a few times since I know, But look, I always appreciate you and everything, sir, and we just want to go ahead and move forward. But thanks so much for being on today. Okay.
Thanks again, Johnny. Always a pleasure.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. All right, guys. That's all I have for you today. That was another edition of Johnny Davis Live here. Let me see, can I move this screen forward here as I move forward with closing out the show here. But I want to thank everybody for being on again. Guys, listen, always, let me thank my guest here, Jairus. Jairus, thanks so much. Great job on the CPR training, man. Listen, to contact Jairus. It's all of his information will be on the show here and also on the website. Be sure to give him a call if you want to get CPR trained in Kentucky, North Carolina, or South Carolina. He is your man. Remember, all PKP people, you need to do that. All right, guys, that's all I have. Listen, we always respect each other. This is Johnny Davis Live, and I'm checking out. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, let's give me this read here. Doesn't want to shut off today. It's saying I don't want to shut off. Request is not. They're not letting me shut off. That's we'll just stay live forever though. Thanks so much, Dr. Lucas. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Anytime.
You still there, Dr. Lucas, and see if it's actually not shutting off for some